Sitting at the foot of Mamajura, the landscape of Section 76 is located in the north of the suburb of Watson, within the North Canberra district of the ACT. The site is bounded by Espinal Street to the south and the Federal Highway to the north. To the west of the block are a number of existing residential units, 2-3 stories in height. To the east is the Youth with a Mission facility.
Block 76 reminds me of the paddocks that I used to play in as a boy 55 years ago on the outskirts of Canberra, when Canberra was still believed in the ideals of a garden city and a bush capital. And the fact that it still exists and still looks like this is encouraging, because I think that it represents an opportunity. You can have all those old values. You can have a garden city and be in a bush capital and have all the modern conveniences as well.
Watson is where the city meets the bush. The retention of trees and habitat should be a priority to ensure a landscape that attracts and sustains native wildlife, as well as other natural flora and fauna can remain.
So you mentioned that your interest is in plants. Why are native plants so important to have at the block?
Well, in a word, it's habitat. And it has to be habitat for Australian native endemic species. So at the moment, we already have quite a lot of trees there, but about half of those, if not more, are not actually native or endemic to the Canberra area. I'm not saying we need to remove those trees. That's probably not a good idea, because we need the established trees for habitat for particularly birds. What does that mean? They use the hollows in the tree. So we need the big trees here as nesting for these parrots and also some of the other animals, opossums and things like that.
It's mostly used by larger birds as a staging post on their way to other places for foraging and feeding around Canberra, and also notably for the superb parrots come here to roost in the evening, which is a rather beautiful sight. And just going back to what I was saying before, it would be really nice if any development here could have low level and dense foliage as well, which encourages smaller birds, because the smaller bird habitat around Canberra is very thin on the ground. And there are lots of native smaller birds, and they're having fewer and fewer places to live, so you could have big birds and small birds.
Section 76 is currently on the ACT government's indicative land release program and allow for a variation to the territory plan. Under the territory plan variation, it is proposed that Section 76 will accommodate between 150 to 200 dwellings. However, local residents have many concerns regarding the planning and development of the area.
Residents have overwhelmingly said that to them the important things are trees, community, communication and the environment in its wider sense. You know, active travel, play spaces, linkages towards cycle tracks and those sorts of things.
I think a really critical thing to learn from that development is not to build acres of concrete in order for convenience of motor vehicles. There must be a way to garage and park motor vehicles without sacrificing all the land area in the development to a hard paved surface. You create a heat island, the water can't permeate into the soil, and the water that does permeate into the soil is polluted because of the pollution from cars.
Because we don't want high-rise, disgusting apartments, we just want maybe affordable housing. At the same time, it is also nice just having some space, because like this neighborhood is becoming so dense, and if it just gets more dense, it's like that classic suburbia hell kind of thing.
It's
so
not what's
exactly, we need, it's the bush capital. It's what we want. So lot more trees and nature around.
In 2020, it was estimated that Watson had a population of 6,260 people. Of the 1,293 families in Watson, 43.5% were couple families with children. The only existing public primary school, Majura Primary, has reached its capacity. In 2021, the number of enrollments of Majura Primary exceeded 800 and continues to grow throughout the years. The Watson shops are approximately 2 kilometers from Block Section 76 and are the only shops in Watson. Just across the street from the block are multiple new development sites, notable Mount Majura Estate, The Ridge, and Live Watson, all of which will total to approximately 616 additional residences in the area. North Watson needs primary schools, early learning centers, and shops to accommodate the increasing population. Block Section 76 could be the solution to the above-mentioned issues. On the long journey of small successes, a strong sense of community spirit emerged when people came together for this campaign. The planning subcommittee of Watson Community Association was formed in 2018 in response to Block Section 76's development issues. The subsequent creation of the Plan for Sustainable Development of Watson became the master plan for the suburb.
So reflecting on the journey of the community coming together through the planning and development issues, how do you feel about that?
Look, I think it's really exciting. It started halfway through 2018, perhaps, where a young mum who lives in the area heard that something was going to be happening, called a community meeting, and we ended up having over 100 people in the Tay Street Hall. And it was crowded, and it was noisy, and it was chaotic. But equally, it was fantastic because people were interested. People knew that this block was here, and people were interested and wanted to have a say in how the block was going to be developed.
We said on the planning group we need to get in first. We'll tell government, planners, etc., developers what we want for Watson, so that when a development comes up or a proposal comes up, such as Block 76, we're able to refer to the plan and develop our response based on the plan, which took into account both the realities of what the government wants to do and the views of the residents, and tried to combine those into a cooperative, if you like, vision.
337 people contributed to the ACT USA surveys. Over 45 groups of individuals and organizations sent in submissions to the government in response to the proposed draft variation plan. And numerous residents approached various media channels to communicate their concerns. Many consultations and events were also organized by local community groups who collaborated with each other. They helped keep Watson residents up to date with the latest news regarding the development of Section 76 and continued the conversation about the needs of this community. The Block Section 76 campaign has also inspired social responsibility in young people to care about community-wide matters. Living Street's youth has gotten involved in making meaningful connections and taking responsible, challenging actions in development issues that affect themselves and others.
We've been at Watson Shops a few times where we set up and talk with community members, just whoever's curious, and that entails just talking to them about why we want to keep it around and what the government plans to do with it. So that's mostly how it works, is just talking with people. it's kind of good in that I know a lot more of the people around, and I've talked to so many people about it and seen that people actually care, because it kind of started off as, we want to advocate for this, maybe no one else cares, but people do, and it was really nice seeing that kind of come out of the community and people start to help out.
So you were involved in the school holiday program on Block 76. How did you find that? What were some of the highlights and benefits from that, do you think?
Seeing it all come to life and seeing that people actually enjoy the work that you've put in was definitely the highlight for me. And just getting people together. I think with community spaces and suburbs and things like that, sometimes it can be quite isolating for people, especially in sort of more COVID times. So seeing that people can still get together and that they know the people around them and their neighbours and things like that was, really warming to see the benefit that they were getting from it.
Do you reckon those events were actually impactful?
Definitely. I think just engaging with this area and the land, I think it really benefited the community and made everyone so much more aware of what's going to happen, and how they can help out.
Starting from when the development on Block 76 was just an idea to now retaining the trees around the block and seeing what sort of involvement and impact we can have on the development, I think has been really important to show that our voices do matter and that the government and people of power can't do whatever they want without consulting the people who will be using the spaces and the people that it really impacts.
Dr. Janley Lee and local architect Paul Burnett, who are also Watson and Inner North Canberra residents of suburban Garden City, have devoted their design skills pro bono to Block Section 76. Together, they have a background in passive housing, sustainable communities, co-housing, community planning, social neighbourhood, and environmental planning. By leading a cross-disciplined student design team, they are actualizing residents' visions of the block and offering options for this community project through design.
I would love to see housing that is energy efficient and also creates more of a sense of social space, social connection. If they can be built and configured in such a way that they do create community, I'm quite interested to see that what is actually built there is something that in another 50 or 100 years we say that was a great development, rather than why on earth did they do that?
They want to see variety. They want to see the sort of development that helps community rather than puts people in their little boxes and doesn't encourage them to interact with other people. Because good design can do that.
And see this, this shadow line will come down here and around here. And that area you could introduce lower species, microforest, more shrub height for the birds and wildlife, and you can also make that a journey for vehicles, for scooters, for bikes through the site. So that's useful because this is staying. The community centre as occurs in eco-villages. This is just a community facility for a village, a group of people. So this is talking about villages of 20 to 30, 20 to 35, 20 to 40 homes. So you could look at elements at a slightly higher density. We were talking at moving from low rise up to high rise. To create that still in a 3 or 4 story apartment. Still the community centre facilities and garden space.
On the highway, Watson is the first suburb on the federal highway when you're coming into the ACT. It should be something which says to people coming in, hey, wow, we're coming into a unique place. It's called the ACT, it's the capital of Australia. Those blocks represent to me the opportunity to put a stamp on the area, the entrance to the ACT, and to shout out loudly that we do things better here than anywhere else.
Block Session 76 carries the hope of Watson residents who look forward to a model suburb for planning and development in the context of the existing friendly community. They even anticipate a development that symbolises regeneration and innovation that will enhance Australia's bush capital.